Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. Present, we have Kevin Matthews, Stephen Isaacson, with Wendy Smith, and Inspector Burris. Just as a note, the meeting has been properly noticed and posted according to law. And now I'm going to turn it over to Chair Wendy Smith.
Good evening. This is a meeting of the Shorewood Board of Appeals. We have a agenda packet that was issued publicly, and our first item of business on that agenda is to approve meeting minutes for our meeting on March 18th, 2026. Do any board members have any suggested revisions or edits? Hearing none, I have no edits either. Those minutes are approved as drafted. All right. Moving on to our first and only substantive item on the agenda tonight is marked as item 4, a request for a variance of Village Code 225-8 sub B5 to allow a 6-foot fence along the north property line from rear yard northwest corner to the center of home on north side at residential property 4067 North Lake Drive. Had the village attorney been present at today's meeting, he would have gone over the standards, but in absence of that village attorney, I will make a statement about the relevant standards that will apply for this request for a variance. So pursuant to Village of Shorewood Municipal Code Section 535-52, the Board of Appeals may hear appeals from persons aggrieved by any administrative order, decision, or determination, and may hear and grant applications for variances and exceptions to zoning provisions of our Chapter 535 of the Municipal Code. In consideration of a variance, the board may hear and grant such an appeal as will not be contrary to public interest where, owing to special conditions, literal enforcement will result in practical difficulty or unnecessary hardship, so that the spirit and purpose of Chapter 535 of the Municipal Code on zoning shall be observed, and the public safety, welfare, and justice secured. The board shall not grant use variances. Pursuant to Municipal Code Section 535-58, no variance shall be granted by the board unless it finds all of the following. A, there must be exceptional, extraordinary, or unusual circumstances or conditions applying to the lot, parcel, or structure that do not apply generally to other properties in the same district, and the granting of the variance would not be of so general or recurrent nature as to suggest that the municipal zoning code chapter should be changed. And B, the variance will not create substantial detriment to adjacent property and will not materially impair or be contrary to the purpose and the spirit of the municipal zoning code chapter or the public interest. So those are our two factors that we're considering here for this request for a variance. It looks as though we have representatives of the homeowners here. Okay, so how we'll proceed today is that typically we start with having the village representative make a statement explaining their assessment of the property. And then the homeowners representatives can come up and make a statement explaining the need for a variance. So we'll begin first with a statement from Inspector Burris.
Do you affirm that the testimony about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Yes, so on June 2nd, 2026, Inspector Tim Kemp issued a letter to the homeowners of 4067 North Lake Drive for a fence being installed that we did not have a permit for, and it detailed the additional violation relating to the height and location of the fence. On June 8th, 2026, the owners submitted a building permit application for the fence, and after discussions with Inspector Kemp and the issuance of a denial letter, on June 9th, the owners submitted the Board of Appeals application. The pertinent zoning regulation is, again, 2258B, parent 5. So no fence more than 4 feet in height may be erected between adjoining properties when the fence parallels an existing residence and the distance between the fence and the residence of either property is less than 6 feet. Within the packet, we have the enforcement notice, the building permit application, and the denial letter, the Board of Appeals application, survey, and photos of the property.
Okay. And so if I'm scrolling down to the packet, there are a couple of photographs on page 11, 12, and then an overhead of the property on 13. So is there any replacement of the existing metal fence, or is just a new wood fence?
Just the new wood fence.
Okay. And is the village asserting that there is the home is closer than 6 feet to the
Correct.
edge of the fence? Okay.
And it's not 6 feet or less from the neighboring.
Correct. The ordinance specifically is 6 feet on either property, less than 6 feet on each.
So is there a violation issue on the opposite side to the adjacent?
There is not. It abuts a driveway.
Okay. And so is the only structure closer than required the homeowner seeking a variance in this request? So it's their own home that would
It is,
have
yes,
the
yes,
closer fence?
correct. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is just the area, so the house bumps out in that area. Yeah, that's obvious there from the picture. So, at the back corner of the house, they have more than 6 feet, but it is in the area of that side door exit.
And it looks as though it's following the property line.
Yes.
Can you explain what the structure actually is?
So we have the fence posts there.
Right.
We're at the back of the house looking forward onto Lake Drive,
Mhm.
and that is a north side entrance and exit from the house.
So the fence would then be filled in on,
Correct. Yes. Yeah, enclosing the rear yard, yes.
And so if there was literal code compliance, this fence would have to continue being 4 feet?
No, it would have to step down at the bump out. So in the picture there where that side exit bumps north, at that point only would the fence have to step down to 4 feet. The remainder is perfectly acceptable to be installed at 6 according to the code.
Okay. So really just where that door entrance is?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
these two right here.
Correct. Yeah, in the area of the steps, that side door exit. Yes.
Okay, so just to recap, are you saying that other posts filled in are acceptable? It only changes when it gets to these two?
So I don't want to speak specifically to where the posts are located because this picture, I'm not sure perception wise where the post is in related to the bump out. It's specifically the bump out is where it needs to step down because that's part of the house that is closer. But essentially, yes, in that general area of where you see those, the two final posts along the north lot line.
Okay.
And the neighbor had no objection?
We received nothing from the neighbors.
So I mean, I don't know if there's an exact measurement here, but it looks as though it's only a few feet
It
of
is.
section
Mhm.
that would be in non-compliance.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions for Inspector Burris? Okay. Any other statement you'd like to make?
Nope.
Would someone from the homeowners like to come up and make a statement? If so, you can stand at this podium, and just so our record captures your voice, if you can try to speak into the microphone.
Can you raise your right hand? Can you raise your right hand? Thank you. Do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Can you please state your name?
Salvatore Terrasi.
Thank you.
Mr. Tarasi, we have some basic understanding of what the request is here, but it would be helpful for us to hear from you as the homeowner as to the need for the fence and any special considerations we should take into account when deciding whether to grant a variance.
Okay. First of all, I want everyone to understand that we did ask the fence company if we needed a permit. And he said that because we're replacing an existing fence that fell during the storm we had in late April or early May, that there would be no need for a permit because we're replacing something that was already there in the same design that was there. We're not changing anything from what was there already. As the inspector said, the concern is the little bump out where the back door is. Our concern with making this change is that, first of all, it's a privacy fence. And lowering that fence to 4 feet would allow someone standing in the neighbor's driveway to look right into our kitchen through the back door. Secondly, the porch, the new porch, is about 2 feet above the ground. So a 4-foot fence would be only 2 feet above the surface of the porch, which in my opinion, especially as I get older, could cause me to come out the back door and trip over the fence and fall over the fence. We're just looking to put the fence back the way it was, which would be just to cover the side where the door is. So our concern is privacy and the safety of coming out the back door and tripping over this 2-foot high fence that would be, I mean, with a 6-foot fence, it would be 4 feet above the surface of the porch.
Mhm.
With a 4-foot fence, it would be only 2 feet above the surface.
Before I turn it over to any questions from the board, is there anything else that you'd like to make as to the need for the fence or?
Can you describe what was there before? I mean, in context, you lost a fence.
Right, we lost the entire north side of the north fence along the north side of the property, and it was 6 feet tall all the way beyond that side door. And then there was a gate to separate the front yard from the backyard. And so we're just simply wanting to replace what was there.
So the 6-foot fence that was there before, how does that fit in?
So when something is removed and replaced, the new has to conform to the current code. We did review the property record to see if there had been, say, a variance or something granted previously. And the records were not detailed enough that we were able to determine. Now, I can tell you that Street View will, I mean, it was a 6-foot fence there. Yes, that is true. But yeah, our records, again, were not detailed enough to indicate, say,
So
a
you're-
formal approval of a,
You're defaulting to the current code.
yes.
And so by circumstance, otherwise this never would have come up. This now changes things because now we have a code that in this particular.
Yes.
One point of clarification, the gate that will go perpendicular to the house would also be 6 feet tall, blocking the view from the street to our backyard. And if we reduce this fence down to 4 feet, the gate's going to have to go down to 4 feet. And then that'll open up the view of the backyard from the street.
Is the porch we're referring to as the bump out, is that new?
No.
That
The
was
porch
there,
itself is new, but the structural part where the back door is part of the original building.
so previously, was there a step there to get out the door, just a single step, or did?
It was exactly what it is now. It's just newer. It was stone instead of brick, but it was exactly the way it is now.
But the step up.
The steps that you see in the photo are brand new, but they replaced exactly what was there before. It's a porch that allows us access to the backyard and to the front yard.
It's a little bit difficult for me to see from the photos, but is this kind of a like a bay window or like a staircase? What is this bumped out area?
It's just the back door.
It's just the back door.
Yeah, you open the door and you walk into the kitchen.
Okay.
And I'm not sure, well, actually, if you go straight, you walk into the kitchen, and then you can also turn left and go down the
Okay.
basement stairs. So that bump out is the steps into the kitchen and the steps to down into the basement.
But I'll note from the floor plan or the overhead schematic for the property, you can see that it's not a straight linear line of the building. That there are some unique architecture jutting out from the side of the properties, and I could see that from the overhead plan. Any additional questions for the homeowner?
I think the distance from the back door to that fence is 4 feet instead of 6.
Does that sound right, Inspector Burris? About 4 feet?
Yes.
So there would still be enough room for egress.
Yes.
Okay.
And as he indicated, on the other side is the neighbor's driveway.
Mhm.
So that's like 8-10 feet from the house.
And I don't think I was listening closely enough, but we did not receive any objections from the neighboring properties. Okay. Anything else for the homeowners? Is there anything else you'd like to share about the property?
No, I think that covers it.
Okay. Well, then I will close the testimony portion of this hearing so that I'll make a motion to enter into deliberations amongst board members. Is there a second? All right. You can have a seat while we discuss amongst ourselves. All right. Does anyone have any preliminary thoughts about whether this warrants a variance? Again, we're looking for those unique or unusual circumstances applying to the lot or the parcel or the structure itself. And some absence of any detriment to an adjacent property. I don't have any evidence that there would be any detriment to the adjacent property. There's been no objection from that one house next door. For me, it's a question about whether there are sufficiently exceptional circumstances about this particular house, the placement of the porch or walkway, maybe even the placement of the structure on the lot itself. Any thoughts?
Seems to me that the big change here is subsequent code change. If it wasn't that, probably. Is that correct? Code change. For the fact that you have updated, specified.
So I'm not certain as to when the ordinance detailed that requirement.
I suppose, can you say one way or the other whether the pre-existing fence was at some point permissible under the code?
I can only say it may have been.
Okay.
Well, I think there are some unusual circumstances here and not just the one that I would categorize as unusual, and that Stephen just pointed out. Due to Mother Nature, they lost a fence, and fortunately for them, the code changed sometime in the interim. But more to the point, I think the item specified by you, Wendy, the survey would suggest that the house has an unusual north side, not a straight line. There's a couple of areas that jut out that make, at one point it might be 0.5 feet, at another point it might be 3 feet. I can't tell from, certainly that's not consequential in my view of this, but I think given the current outline of the home, where their back porch is and was, that the circumstances are such, in absence any finding of detriment, which I agree with, that the circumstances are unusual enough to warrant the granting.
I agree. Shall we proceed to a vote? All right. So I will move then to grant a variance of Village Code 225-8 sub B5 to allow a 6-foot fence along the north property line from rear yard northwest corner to the center of home on north side at residential property 4067 North Lake Drive as The request meets our criteria for granting a variance, including the unique and exceptional nature of the homeowner's property and an absence of any detriment to any neighboring property. Is there a second?
I second.
Toya, can you call this to a vote?
Stephen Isaacson,
Aye.
Wendy Smith.
Aye.
Kevin Matthews.
Aye.
Motion carried 3-0.
Variance is now granted. I believe you'll get something from the village communicating the next steps, right?
Yes.
As we have no other items on our agenda, I move to adjourn this meeting. Any objections? All right. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.
Meeting adjourned at 5:50 PM. Thank you.